Well, hello everyone. I wasn't really expecting to actually be doing this video because I went to the ABC shop and I was like, I should buy some more Series 3 figures for the competition that I'm holding because they're part of the prizes and also because they're kind of hard to find and I still don't have Kavarin or any of the special edition figures. And then I walked in and I was like, well, there aren't any Series 3 figures here, but you know what? You can't really be a collector of the character building set unless you own this set here. And that's the Doctor Who 11 Doctors micro figure set, which, as we can see, as the big bubble tells us, in case we can't read down the bottom, includes all 11 incarnations of the Doctor, with this display bases included. So after this, what would you call an impulse buy, let's have a look at this quintessential character building set revolving around the Doctor Who universe, especially since today there's been many rumours of 11 Doctors returning for the 50th anniversary episode. So let's have a look at it right now. So first of all, we've got your traditional character building kind of packaging with, our character building logo, the same kind of, collectible, constructible, compatible, all that kind of stuff, and a picture of all the Doctors and the accessories that we get inside. Now, as we can see, this set cost me $39.99, obviously rounds up to $40 in Australian. And as we've currently and previously seen, that's often much more expensive than in the US and the UK. Now I've got a little Velcro opening door thing for the TARDIS, and we can see that we've got a picture of all the little Doctors in their packaging, which is really nice. And also we've got little character bios down the side. It's good to note that the 8th Doctor and parts of the movie in which the 8th Doctor featured were actually included in this and now have been officially accepted into the canon. We keep going down. Lovely to see we have so much on some of them, and then poor William Hartnell has hardly anything. But we can see that at least they've put a little bit of research into this, and I think if they probably could have waited till this year to release this set and made the big 50th anniversary set. But the packaging is very attractive from a buyer's perspective, especially because they can see the figures that they're buying, which, as we'll find out later, is actually vitally important when it comes to character building. Well, I have to say, the first thing that pops into mind when you open these up is, wow, I didn't think they would look this good out of the box. And I'm actually really impressed, even though they're on the display bases, which, as I've talked about, I kind of think are a bit useless. But before we go on to that, I'd like to say that this packaging was a nightmare trying to get them out. The amount of them that came apart when I was trying to get them out of there was ridiculous. But moving on, let's have a look at the Doctors as individual characters. So we've got the first Doctor here. Now, I'm really pleased with the way they've given them each individual headpieces, individual printing on the bodies, and of course on the legs. And they haven't just kind of gone for a bit of a clone, or a different head or something, which I could see Lego doing maybe if they just had different hair pieces and not so much different faces. But I think they've done a really good job of kind of capturing the first Doctor in this image anyway. The only thing is that he doesn't actually come with a sonic implement, but then again, I haven't seen any of the first Doctor episodes, but from what I've read, he doesn't use it very much, if at all, in the very early seasons, so that kind of makes sense. And so I think the first Doctor as a figure, very good. The second Doctor, I think they did a good job with making him look like his character, but I don't know if I approve of the frown. Because, in these kind of kits, I think it's important that, because it's, the only kit you're going to get, you're going to want them to be happy if they're going to be anything at all. And so I think it's important that these guys have kind of a neutral or happy expression, whereas he doesn't look very pleased that he's been made into a Lego design figure. What is nice though is that we've got the original sonic screwdriver, which was pretty much a stick with a light on the end of it, and it's nice to see that that's been included. Apart from that though, we've got very nice designs once again, and as you can see, unbeknownst to me, this was actually the first appearance of the longer coat torso. Then we come on to the third Doctor. Once again, quite nice. This expression I prefer. He looks a little bit shocked, maybe not so much happy, but I think it's a slightly better expression than the frowny one that we saw in the second Doctor. Here we can clearly see the progression of the sonic screwdriver, which is nice. And so you can see we've got the little knobbly things on the end, all the different bits of it. Very, very well designed, and a lot of thought put into this sonic screwdriver here, as with all the sonic screwdrivers. So I think they did a very good job once again of this figure. Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor. Wow. Just wow. I'm really impressed by this one. I love the scarf piece. It's a bit soft. It's soft and kind of springy, not hard like a lot of the Lego ones are, but it makes it even look more scarf-like. And the way he's kind of like smiling and looking off to the side. I haven't even seen the episodes with the Fourth Doctor, but this just makes me think of like Fourth Doctor straight away. And that scarf is just like the kind of thing which they could have printed on with the paint, but they've actually made a separate piece, and that's really, really nice. And now I'll move on to my first Doctor, which was Peter Davidson. And we can see that, he's even got his little celery, and he's got quite a nice face. Now you can see that there's a little mark on his chin, which isn't actually meant to be there. But as we know, character building gets a little bit inconsistent sometimes, but I don't think it really matters. It just looks more of a shadow. I have to say, though, I think this is borderline okay, but it almost looks like they've given him a moustache and a chin, and that, all better. A moustache and a chin, and they haven't actually given him a mouth. So he's alright in that sense. Good to see he's got another sonic screwdriver. But I think that in that case, it was a little bit strange, but we'll live. So let's look at Colin Baker as the Sixth Doctor. Now, once again, they've kind of got a bit like excited and been like, yeah, let's make him a little bit sad. And I don't know if I like that either, because once again, he just looks... You can make a happy face be sad or confused, but it's really hard to make a not happy face happy. I don't know why, but as we often see, you can get away with having a smiling Thomas going, oh no, disaster ahead. But you can't really get away with him going, oh look, a pile of jelly babies. Just doesn't come out right. And I don't know what that dot's doing. It's meant to be there, but I'm not sure if it's meant to be like a chin, which because he's frowning is close to his mouth. What's going on there? But once again, a very nice model, and the hair and everything's everything's great. The colours, just that face is a little bit too frowny for my liking. But I can't really change that. So now on to the Seventh Doctor. Now he's a really nice one. For some reason he jumps out as me. It's just being really well done. He's got the nice smiley face without looking as if he's, had happy pills. And he's also got, the really nice design clothes, and even the shoes with a spot of white makes that kind of difference. The hat is good. It'd be nice if it was removable, but then again, this is character building, not Lego, and the top parts don't come off. And if it did, he wouldn't have any hair. I like the inclusion of the umbrella, which is interesting. I mean, it's a weird piece, but I know he did carry an umbrella around rather than the Sonic quite many times. If anyone had actually seen this, is it actually a Sonic umbrella? I can't say that I have knowledge of this one. The most I've seen of this Doctor is an episode where someone's skin peeled off, and that turned me off Doctor Who again. So now we can see that, he's a very good one. For some reason, he just jumps out as me, being like, yes, that is what all of these figures should look like when they're trying to represent their film counterparts. Speaking of films, it's Paul McGann as the Eighth Doctor, who sadly only appeared in one film, which no one liked in America, despite liking it in the UK, so Doctor Who went off air again. Now, I think they've done a really good job with him. I think the whole, two chin design, which they have on some of these figures, works, and it does, I'm convinced that that's a mouth, rather than being, a weird thing out that's, above his mouth or something. I think he's done a nice job with his hair, with his coat, and we've got, the sonic screwdriver, which this sonic screwdriver makes quite a few appearances. But I don't see anything wrong with that, because the sonic screwdriver didn't change a lot from the second one rather, to 10s and 9s, and then to Matt Smith. So I think that's okay. And then this is once again another good figure. Christopher Eccleston is the Ninth Doctor. I wasn't sold on this one when I first saw it, which is one of the reasons I didn't buy this set at the start, because a couple of them I was like, I'm not sure if I like them. But I think I've kind of come to like him now. I'm not sure about the little flicks on his eyes that kind of look like he's wearing makeup. But apart from that, I think he's a nice figure. He's got a little dot there, which I don't think is meant to be there, but character building. Apart from that, I think that he's a really nice figure. He's got the leather jacket print on there. He looks very businesslike with the short hair, and he just looks like he did in the TV series. Kind of very serious, very sincere, but it doesn't mean you can't have a bit of fun. Now, the new design of Sonic is interesting. It's really big, and that's what confuses me. Like, I think we'll do this comparison right now. If we compare 11 Sonic Screwdriver to 10's, 10's is actually, well, 9, sorry. His is actually bigger, which doesn't make sense because we see clearly in the TV series that Matt Smith's is like a massive Sonic Screwdriver when we compare it to 10's. So this is a bit weird. I don't know whether they, since this came out at the start, you think they would have been like, okay, we're going to make this set, we're going to make sure that Matt Smith is a little bit bigger. But that does look the right size to me, so what they probably should have done was said, okay, we're going to, like really cut that bit, that end bit, make that half as long, and make this half as long, and you'd be a bit closer. And so, like, although it's a nice Sonic Screwdriver, I don't think that bit at the end is just a little bit too big, this cylinder bit at the end, to really capture the, like, look, the small, like, sleek, redesigned look of 9 Sonic Screwdriver. But, leaving that aside, it's good. Now this, I have to say, has to be the most disappointing figure in all of them. Why? Because, once again, with Sonic Screwdriver, we've got, like, the nice clothes, we've got these, like, Converse shoes, and even printing on the back, and the hair, and then we look at his face, and we're like, oh my god, what were you doing? Not only do his eyes look kind of sad, which, although we do see David Tennant sad quite a bit, like, once again, I've already explained what I think about preset faces that aren't happy. But he doesn't even look like, to me, he has a mouth. He looks like he has, like, a really thick, like, line above his lips, like where a moustache would be, except it's not a moustache. And then he looks like he has this, like, little, like, chin, which kind of looks like a frown. Like, to be honest, I kind of have to, like, bend my thinking a lot to tell myself that this line, the top one, is meant to be a mouth. I think it's meant to be a mouth. It's just too close to the nose. The space between these guys, these two figures, expression paintings here, needs to be halved. So I'm going, okay, that's a mouth, not some really weird moustache. And so I think that from the side, you're like, oh yeah, that's a mouth. And then you turn it straight on, and you're like, is it a mouth? Or is it like the outline of a sad mouth? What is going on? So I think that they kind of spoiled his face a little bit to otherwise a great figure, especially because we all know how much all the fangirls and fanboys love 10. And then I've already reviewed 11, but we can see that he's just, in this set anyway, comes in his original clothing design, which I recently noticed actually has 2 buttons when the newer design with the paler yellow color actually has 3 buttons. But as I said, he's just, your stock standard. But what is interesting to notice is how little facial expression he actually has. He's got the smirky mouth, eyebrows, and eyes, which is, maybe one of the reasons I like this guy so much, because he has the simple facial expressions. Whereas you get, like, you got this guy here with the cheek lines, which is fine. This guy's got cheek lines. This guy's got lines under his eye. And then we get, like, this guy's got a chin. 10 has a chin. Like, honestly, I think, although these ones probably look a little bit more realistic, having this kind of cartoony, kind of, like, a little bit fake face actually more accurately represents, like, yeah, I'm Matt Smith, and I like to jump around, I'm a little bit crazy, and a little bit psycho, but that's okay, because I'm the Doctor, and I do what I want, and I'm 1,100 years old. And so I think that face is, like, a good way of doing it. I think keeping it simple was what character building probably should have done with some of the faces. But apart from that, overall, I'm actually very impressed by the quality of these figures. Especially when, when I first saw them, I was like, I don't know whether these are worth it. So, if you're collecting these, I really recommend these, and I can think that they'd be great if you're making your own series. Mark on who. Because you can do some really cool things with having doctors and having past implements and all that kind of thing. I think that the fact that, this guy here and this guy here don't have their own tools is fine, because they often had the same tools anyway, so then you just have ridiculously large amounts of that same Sonic Screwdriver, and I don't see that as a problem. And the only thing I would have improved on is the face of 10, possibly the face of 2, and the face of 6. But apart from that, I think they've done a very convincing job. Now, there's just one thing I need to say, and it's that when you get the doors, make sure you check that the figures are in good condition, because as I've explained in other videos, and as other YouTubers have shown you, character building has a reputation for making figures that aren't exactly the same, and I've even heard of cases where their heads don't fit on because their hair is in the wrong place. So make sure you check that when you buy them, which is one of the advantages of the opening door flappy things on the front. Apart from that, I think that, this set's quite good. It is actually a little bit expensive, especially because if you consider if you bought them all individually at $3.50 Australian each, you'd actually just be like, it'd be a little bit less, more like $35 instead of the $40. However, obviously these guys aren't available as normal packaging, and then you would have to keep buying them in the hope that eventually you get the right ones. So it's kind of a bit of a trade-off, but also not quite a trade-off, because if you buy the Army Builder packs, they're actually cheaper to buy Army Builder packs than to buy 5 of the individual characters. But now my camera's about to run out, so that's the end of this review. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. But that's all I've got time for now from TrainzXtreme. And thank you for watching.